want to talk tonight just briefly about the Buddha. I always want to talk about the Buddha because he was many, many things, but I think first and foremost what he was a bit of an OCD list maker. He made many lists. We have the 3 levels of giving, the 4 noble truths, the 6 paramitas, the 6 perfections. Of course, we have the 8-fold path. So I see a little of this like OCD list-making tendency, and in that way, I think many of us in the room are exuding some Buddha nature tonight. But these lists are basically, they're all steps towards achieving liberation, or a way to kind of break down the sense of separateness. And in all of these lists, I see one concept that's being mirrored in each of these lists, and it's the theme of what's called dhyana. It means insight or concentration. You might recognize the term because it's also one of the limbs on the 8-limb path of yoga. So dhyana, concentration. The description is insight. But I think the embodied experience of dhyana is much juicier than that. It runs much deeper. It's kind of like the realization of our inherent capacity, or humans' innate ability to just sit and be still. And maybe if we're lucky, to listen. So basically, we could say that dhyana is like meditation. And the very marrow of meditation, the bone marrow of meditation, is to sit compassionately with oneself and welcome in all sensations, right? The entire range of the human experience. From beautiful to bitter, we taste the whole palette of sensations. The Buddha called this the 10,000 joys and the 10,000 sorrows. It's another one of his lists. So yoga asana, the physical practice of yoga, was actually developed to assist the system in approaching dhyana, in finding a stable and sweet pose to sit in and to be still and to listen. So we'll focus on the mechanisms within our own system that help us approach a more stable meditative practice. And of particular interest is the hip flexor, the psoas, because it's responsible for pulling the lumbar spine into its natural curve, and also for swinging the femur bones forward, crossing the legs, so we can have a nice stable base of the spine and an even rooted pelvis. So we'll do a nice juicy hip class, and I think healing the psoas is difficult on many levels because it's the deepest, most intrinsic core muscle. It's triggered by fight or flight. In Chinese medicine, it's the muscle which is responsible for the emotion of fear to emerge in the feeling body. So if we can work on softening and stretching the psoas, we might be able to check off one of the to-do items on the Buddha's great list.